The Labour Party crisis has escalated with two separate National Executive Committee meetings summoned by embattled National Chairman, that's Julius Abure, and the Peter Obi Governor Alex Otti faction. The Abure's NEC meeting which happened at the National Secretariat in Abuja, had threatened to sanction Governor Alex Otti and Peter Obi, citing alleged anti-party activities, while that of Peter Obi and Alex Otti faction held on April 9th, 2025 in Abuja appears to be challenging Abure's leadership, deepening the party's internal crisis. The parallel NEC meetings highlight the deepening divisions within the Labour Party, with both factions vying for control and legitimacy. Well, joining me right now on the program is Chibuzo Okereke, is a political commentator, a legislative strategist. Thank you for your time, sir.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening. Of course, joining me at some point, I believe, would be Tokunbo Peters, is the State Publicity Secretary for the Labour Party, Ogun State. Would bring him on once he joins. But let me start with you, Chibuzo. Looking at what we are seeing right now, with the Labour Party, since the Supreme Court ruled, even prior to that, it appeared like the party had been, in factions. There's the faction of Peter Obi and Alex Otti, faction of Abure, and some would say the faction of Lamidi Apapa. But since that ruling, the Supreme Court judgment, it looks like these factions have decided to give their own various interpretation of this judgment. What's your take?
Well, thank you very much. I think that from your introduction, I'm now more worried about media reportage than even the political party crisis. Because you see, media organizations, big organizations like yours and many others, they send their judicial correspondence to the Supreme Court or any other court of competent jurisdiction in Nigeria, and they participate in the process. They have the judgment of the court, and we still come out to give reports that are conflicting, thereby giving room for street interpretations of judicial pronouncement. And that is very worrisome and probably undermine the role of the media under the Constitution.
I'm sorry. I'll need to come in. I'll need to come in. No. Sorry. I'll need to come in. I'll need to come in.
No,
because
let me tell you why I'm saying that.
Okay.
Let me tell you, I'm not accusing you, but I'm telling you because you say there are factions. How can the Supreme Court of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the highest court of the land, the apex court of the land under our Constitution, the court that when it speaks, any other appeal you have is either taken to God or any other thing you believe in? The Supreme Court was very clear. In fact, today, at that particular meeting, an excerpt from this certified true copy of the judgment was read. And I'm also putting out this to the judiciary. We have to start looking at jurisprudence again, the intelligence of jurisprudence, so that when there are pronouncements of the court, we don't go on with street interpretation or people ascribing their own personal interpretation to what the court had decided. From that certified true copy of the judgment, it was clear that Mr. Abure reign as the National Chairman of the Labour Party was effectively buried. The Supreme Court was unequivocal. It was very clear in plain English, saying that the appellant, had won the case, and then in that respect. But even the appeals and cross appeals were consolidated. Because the Supreme Court cannot, it's just like the case we experienced in one of the states in Nigeria, Rivers State. Anytime we now have a new political culture in Nigeria where we give our own meaning to Supreme Court or even Federal High Court or Appeal Court judgment, this should not be the case. I think that, like the governor of Ogun State rightly said, you cannot force yourself to lead a people. And political parties are very central, whether ruling party or opposition party, to democratic consolidation. to political development, to even policy and social development of a country. So political parties should get their acts together, and pursue policies that transform the country. So by this particular judgment, in the spirit and letters of it, in every shape and form, the learned justice was very clear that this man tenure had ended, and therefore the party need to make progress and move forward. And granted the relief sought by the appellant, which was the national caretaker chairman of the Labour Party and the secretary, who appealed the earlier judgment of the appeal court and the court below in the matter. And all these appeals were consolidated and decided on. So we can't have a new media Supreme Court.
Mr. Okereke, I'm sorry, at this point I just need to come in. Just to clear the air, the media would not fabricate stories, but report what they see, and that includes News Central. We'll tell it as it is, and that's why we bring the stakeholders every time sorry, let me finish. And that is why we bring in stakeholders to say it as it is. But at this point, let me bring in Tokunbo Peters. He's the State Publicity Secretary for the Labour Party, Ogun State. He joins also virtually. Thank you for your time, Mr. Tokunbo Peters. Can you hear me? Okay, it's great to have you.
Good evening. I'm glad to be with you today.
All right. It's Nigerians woke up to a lot happening within the Labour Party today. Let me just ask you this straight, so that maybe you might also want to shed more light into what is going on within your party. Since that Supreme Court judgment came out, it appears like different factions, and that's just observation from outside, within the party are giving it various interpretations, taking advantage of a clause that maybe suggests that the court absorbs itself from internal party wranglings. What is going on within your party?
First and foremost, I would like to state, for the purpose of clarity, that I am not a politician. I am a professional in politics. I am not a professional politician. If you look at the events of the last 1 week, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to know that the crisis pervading the Labour Party is being precipitated by outsiders. And when I say outsiders, I mean the ruling party. There was no crisis in Labour Party before the 2023 election, simply because of the strong showing of the Labour Party and the need for the Labour Party to be killed. And that is what is causing this whole crisis. So if you look at PDP is also having crisis.
So what you're saying, Mr. Tokunbo, what you're saying, Mr. Tokunbo, right now is that there are moves within the Labour Party sponsored by the ruling party in the country. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, sure. That's what I'm saying. I'm very clear in my statement.
What do you have any idea what those moves might be?
I don't know who the moles are, but I know that this crisis are being engineered by people outside the Labour Party. That is exactly what is going on. I've gone through the 47-page document. That is a certified true copy of the Supreme Court. Even though I'm not a lawyer, but there was nowhere in that judgment where the learned judges said Abure has been removed. From my own understanding, what I could read from that judgment was that the leadership of a political party is strictly the internal affairs of the party, and that we should go and sort ourselves out. And I saw that judgment as a golden opportunity for both the Nanadi Usman and the Abure faction of the party to close rank and build the party to form a formidable united front ahead of the 2027 election. That is the way that is how I could interpret that judgment. Because I even have to send a copy of the CTC to the producer of this program so that you can go through it before this program. There was the lady gentleman that spoke earlier on. I don't know where he saw where the judges were unequivocal that Abure has been removed. Abure was not even mentioned in the judgment. But while we are still grappling with that problem, look at what happened to him. Lamidi Apapa also came up proclaiming himself to be the legitimate chairman of the party, that since Abure has been removed, that no other person has right to claim leadership of the party. So that is why I said these crises are being engineered by a thought force outside the party.
Okay, thank you so much.
If you can think back to 2023, who were the people sponsoring Lamidi Apapa? Lamidi Apapa and his cohorts were flying on private jets. They were riding brand new state-of-the-art SUV to all over the place, to cause confusion, to disrupt proceedings. Who were the people sponsoring them? So you don't have to be a rocket scientist to know that these problems are being engineered from people outside the party.
Okay, Mr. Peters, please just permit me to relieve you for a moment and go back to Chibuzo. Chibuzo, maybe you might just want to react to some of the things Mr. Peters said. But one thing he said is that what we are seeing within the Labour Party is caused by external persons being sponsored to destabilize the party. And that, I mean, maybe not exclusively peculiar to the Labour Party, but even across other political parties that are in the opposition. What's your take?
A lot of parties are having problems. It's not just Labour Party. The APC is having problems, and the APC has been accused of even sponsoring problems in other parties publicly. So, well, maybe he may have his intelligence as to that, and it will be important some of those moves are named. But unfortunately, we can even see a manifest character of people who have decided to make sure that the Labour Party does not function effectively because of the hope the Labour Party, brings to the affair of Nigeria, inspiring a possibility of new Nigeria from consumption to production. But let me say this. Imagine if President Tinubu, by the Constitution of Nigeria, ends his tenure in 2027 and decide that he's going to continue without an election. And therefore, people started saying, no, this is unconstitutional. You can't continue, Mr. President, without an election. It's okay, no problem. We will have an election, but we are not going to do general election. All my ministers are going to vote. If they vote for me, I will continue. That is exactly what Mr. Abure is manifesting. People like my brother over there is giving credence to. And that doesn't make sense. What is unconstitutional is unconstitutional. You cannot put something on nothing. If your tenure ended on June 8th, and there's supposed to be a transition, by the party constitution, you start with conducting what Congress is. You cannot change it. You cannot, start building a house from the top. You build a house from the bottom, especially when the predictions and prescriptions of the constitution of your own party have said so. No matter the interests you have, equity, fair play, and social justice and constitutionalism require that you follow constitutional process to attain any political goal that you have. So if you refuse to obey the law, if you neglect a rule of law, if you trample on your own constitution, then you don't need to look for a mole outside. because that character itself can constitute into a mode that will be destabilizing. And I think that the Supreme Court, it's already in Nigeria.
All right, Mr. Chibuzo, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I understand that we need to go on a quick break.
To the position
Mr. Chibuzo, thank you so much. We'll definitely come back, but let's go on a quick commercial break. When we return, we'll pick up. Stay with us. Many thanks for staying with us, and of course, it's still Politics HQ on News Central Television. I still have my guest with me, Mr. Tokunbo Peters, State Publicity Secretary of Labour Party, Ogun State, and also Chibuzo Okereke. He's a public affairs analyst and also a legislative strategist. Gentlemen, thank you for staying with me. Now, 30 seconds, because we need to go. Mr. Tokunbo Peters, in 30 seconds, what is the way forward for your party, the Labour Party?
The way forward is for the stakeholders and the leadership of the party to come together and chart a new course. Because for those claiming that Abure has been removed, if Abure has been removed, who is now the leader of the party? Because I am familiar with the constitution of the party, and there is no such thing as National Working Committee stated in the constitution of the party. It is alien to it. So like Chibuzo claim, if Chibuzo is saying that Abure has overstayed his tenure and the court has removed him, then who heads the party? And it is statements like this that is giving room to the likes of Lamidi Apapa to come out and start laying claim to the leadership of the party. I am aware that a convention was held in which five representatives from each state voted for Abure for a new tenure. And even the governor of Abia State, Alex Otti, sent his deputy to represent him in that convention. And I know that TUC and NLC also had their representative. And INEC was equally informed, though they didn't attend the convention. And it was on the basis of the decision taken at that convention that Abure is laying claim to the chairmanship of the party. And for those who are saying that the court has removed Abure, if the court has actually removed Abure, then who has the court pronounced as the leader of the party?
Mr. Tokunbo Peters, I'm sorry, but this is where we need to go.
I think the court has given us a window.
This is where we need to go. I really...
In order for us to be able to chart a new course towards prosecuting the election in 2027.
All right, we really need to go. We really need to go. Thank you so much, sir.
We're going to have time to build the party.
Thank you so much, sir. We really need to go. Thank you so much. Mr. Tokunbo Peters is the State Publicity Secretary of the Labour Party, Ogun State. I also, of course, have Chibuzo Okereke, is a public affairs analyst and also a legislative strategist. It's been a pleasure, gentlemen. I wish we had more time, but this is the best we can do for now. Thank you so much.